Chicago, because it is a large city with the second largest job market in the country, offers wide variety of placement experiences.
Because this is Chicago, the diversity is immense. You can work with almost any group of people that you're interested in.
Students come to Chicago Center because they want to work with particular populations, or they may come because they have a certain specialty and certain certification needs.
The liberal arts is designed to prepare students to broaden their world, to be able to relate to populations that they may not have grown up with or experienced, to understand history, to understand the context of their world, more than just whatever has been available to them in their own experience wherever they grew up, or even went to college or went to school.
You should do your social work in Chicago because of diversity. There's so many people here. And I'm not decrying rural social work. I began in rural social work. I learned some of my basic lessons in rural social work. But here in Chicago, where there's so many social problems, you can confront them and you can deal with them. You may go back from the Chicago Center and you may spend the rest of your life working in a rural area. But the lessons you learn here are applicable to either rural or even another country. And so I think that's the value of why you should come to Chicago. Come to Chicago, deal with diversity, and then when you go back, even the old things you thought you knew have changed.
Living in Chicago has definitely given me a really great taste of how much the city has to offer, all of the different neighborhoods, all of the different cultural traditions that are right, in Chicago. It's really cool. Every neighborhood is totally different. It just gives me a much greater appreciation of the city than I had before, just because I've experienced a lot more.
When we put it all together and find out what the student wants, we get back to the student saying, these are one or two places that we think you'd be comfortable for. We certified, and if you're interested, we'll go forward. Which one of these would you like? Once they choose one, we go back out, talk to the supervisor, and at that point, when we talk to the supervisor, we make our final decision that's where the student is placed.
I'm placed at Sarah's Circle in the Uptown neighborhood of Chicago. Sarah's Circle works predominantly with women who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. It's kind of an all-inclusive agency. It is a day program, so we're not a residential shelter, but it's a safe place for women to go during the day. In the mornings here, usually, if there's not a volunteer, I'll kind of do some work at the desk. But I think the really great thing about being an intern at Sarah's Circle is that we basically have the full responsibility of a staff member, and all of the case managers are actually interns, so we're all students from different programs in the city. Usually I'll probably see about 7 or 8 clients a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how busy or slow it is, and then a lot of paperwork kind of following up after that. And then we finish at 5, and usually everyone's out around 4:45 or so we leave right at 5. Hop on the train, then the bus to get back home. And then my roommates and I will make dinner. If it's a Tuesday night, we have seminar with Arvis down at the center. And then Wednesday nights are housing meetings with a staff from Chicago Center. So they're pretty full days, but we usually take advantage of the weekends and explore or kind of do whatever.
Chicago Center has real connections to people who are really making a difference all across the city, the state, and the nation.
The people I bring to them, these social workers, are some of the very best in the city, representing the different areas that they come from and different ethnic groups and so forth. So some of the social workers I have been in the game for 40 years, and they can tell you the history, how that worked, and some of them are founders of their agencies. And so I have a wide array of social workers in every field of social work we can anticipate who will come and share their knowledge, with our students.
We had a social worker who's in a hospital in Chicago come and talk to us about what she does and kind of some of the issues and conflicts she runs into dealing with patients and families and quality of care, things like that, things that I'm not necessarily experiencing in the same way at my placement. And so I think there are definitely a lot of benefits to having guest speakers. I think the fact that Chicago Center houses all of their students together, whether it's in the same building or just a couple blocks away, is a really great opportunity for students to develop support systems with one another. And I think in doing that, it provides a really great opportunity for students to kind of develop and explore their own practicum, but also the practicum of their roommates by sharing experiences, sharing stories. And it's just really nice to know that you have a group of people to go home to at night who are kind of going through a similar thing. Even though your placements might be different, even though my roommates do different things within the social work field, we all kind of have that common interest together. And so it's nice to have that built-in support system. It's really great.
We went through a very detailed CTA orientation. This is one thing I was a little bit frightened about, is navigating the entire city by myself. It's a really empowering experience, actually. You go through this training and it explains the system to you, and then you get the sense like, wow, I can go anywhere I want to, and I'm not going to get lost. I'm totally fine.
I'm constantly dealing with misconceptions of Chicago and Hyde Park when I go back home to Jacksonville, for example. But on the other hand, I recently read the Time Out Chicago article that said Hyde Park is among the safest neighborhoods in the country, urban neighborhoods in the country.
Learning is lifelong. And so what Chicago Center represents for me is I'm still in lifelong learning. And I want to share that with other students who are coming here to study in a variety of disciplines. I learn much from the students that come, and I think I have much to give to the students and professors, that I talk to.
After doing the Chicago Center, I just was like, whoa, the world is so big. In my world, I feel now that it was so small before I came here.
The center is the reason that I'm here today, not only living in the city, but doing what I'm doing.
I mean, it's super awesome. I'm glad I came. So, yeah, it's been really good. I would encourage anybody just to kind of go for it, and it's great. You'll have a really great experience. So it's going to be hard to leave, I think.
I'm not exaggerating at all when I say that the Chicago Center changed my life.